techniques that many parents use in order to get a child to do something that you want him to do, or to not do something that you don't want him to do, is to use threats. What's the deal with threats? And how come they don't always work? Well, here's the deal. Threats can actually be an effective form of getting a child to behave in the way you want him or her to, but only if you plan to follow through on the threats. Parents come to me very often saying, I feel like I'm a fishwife. I feel like I'm a nagging mom, a shrew. All I do is threaten my child all day long, and that's the only way I can get him to behave. Well, of course that's the way you feel if that's what you're doing all day long. It doesn't feel good to be threatening your child. The reason you have to threaten him so many times is that you haven't done a good job of following through on the threat. So, for example, if you say to your child, if you don't come to dinner right now, you're not going to have dinner. And then he comes waddling in and you give him dinner. What has he learned? He's learned that your word is not good and that you're not going to follow through. Do you ever wonder why counting works with kids when you say 1, 2, and when you get to 3, the child finally hops 2? Here's why it works. Because no parent in his right mind is going to get to 3 and not follow through. You've given a threat of some sort, but your child knows you're going to follow through. So here are my tips about threats. Number 1, if you're going to threaten your child with a consequence for a behavior, make sure you're good and ready to follow through, that you're not giving a threat that you have no intention of following through on. I once had a parent who threatened her child that he wasn't going to have a birthday party. I bet you think she followed through. Of course not. My second threat is never give the child a threat that's going to be bad for you. In other words, if you say to your child, if you don't clean up your room right now, we're not going to go to the beach, which is what we're supposed to be doing next, and you've been looking forward to going to the beach all week, who's going to be punished? You or your child? Actually, both of you. Not a good threat. Don't punish yourself. And my third tip about threats is this. When you threaten your child, do it only one time. Tell your child what you expect, explain what the threat is, and then follow through. Believe me, you'll only have to do it once or twice, and it'll work.